Hello, everyone. Welcome to Toronto TV. I'm the host for tonight's career counseling session, Eric Lau. And tonight we're actually up to our episode 5. So it's been a while, but I guess we're moving on to our next topic for tonight's sessions. And what we're going to talk about tonight is the job trends for 2009 and beyond. I guess a lot of you out there who's looking for a job or maybe in the job market looking to move on to the next kind of career path would be interested to know like what's out there, like what's are the kind of growing trends that one should be aware of in terms of developing your career, and also for those of you who are currently looking for jobs and has difficulty finding one, it's definitely a very great concern for a lot of you out there. So the topics for tonight, we're going to talk about the job trends in general. I'm going to point to you a couple of sectors that are definitely a growing trends to really keep an eye out as well. Talk about the starting point, which is you. You should be actually really consider what type of profession would be good for you. Not just the fact that there's a lot of jobs out there, but in terms of how you fit into those type of position, whether that's the type of job that you want to really develop your career in, and also emerging occupations. So we're going to go into a little bit more specific as to what type of specific jobs that are growing in the job market these days, and also education and training. So let's begin. So in general, what's out there in 2009 and beyond? I know it's a tough market out there. The recession is still kind of hindering across I guess the global economy. But a couple of sectors that are still quite strong. First off is the healthcare. As some of you may know, the growing population, the baby boomers, are reaching a stage where they are reaching a retirement age, and also in terms of the demand for any specific healthcare for the growing aging population is definitely on the rise. So anything from being a general practitioner, general doctor, a specialist in certain medical fields, to any dentistries, to any healthcare professional in the nursing sector especially. There's a high demand of individuals in that sector, and that's remains to be strong probably beyond 2010, 2011, or any foreseeable future. So that's definitely one area that to really consider on. And the other second areas is infrastructure. As some of you again heard across the global type of economy, a lot of countries are spending quite a lot of money just to help boost the economic downturn by investing a lot within their own infrastructure. So any type of professions, from engineers to contractors to any type of service or build up type of related areas would definitely be in hot areas for at least for the next couple of years. And the third part is professional service in general. A lot of service such as from accounting to legal to kind of getting back into more the specific training type of professional service. Those are consistently been a demand type of professions that it remains to be strong for 2009 and beyond. And lastly, skilled trades. This is an area where a lot of people probably have may not have paid too much attention to, but it's actually a very a solid sector, I would say, that there's always been a consistent demand, like skilled trades such as electrical technician, from plumbing professionals to anywhere even for someone in the very specific tailoring type of industry is actually a very sought after type of skills where someone they are looking for someone with very specific skilled trades in this sector. So let's go into a little bit more specific detail in terms of the job trends in 2009 and beyond. So next, we're going to talk about you first. So what do you want to do? I know there's a lot of you out there that say, you know what, the first thing in my mind is I just need to get a job. I mean, I can't really care too much about whether I like the job or not, because I need to really just find a job to pay the bills, to pay my mortgage, etc., which is true. So if that's the case, then obviously you have to really look out for yourself. But if you do have the opportunities to really I guess, pursue a career path that you want to really kind of build up on, you should really start with you as a focal point. So you should ask yourself a couple of key questions. What are you good at? What are you interested in? What do you value most? And how do you envision your day-to-day job? For example, are you an office person, or are you the type of person that can sit in an office environment for like over like 7 8 hours? And then from that point onward, to develop a sense of direction, what type of role. Because as I mentioned earlier, there's, even though the economy is tough, there's the job market is not the greatest out there, but if you just grab a job, just anything, and just trying to pay the bills, in the long run, in terms of really growing your career, it would be more detrimental for your future than to really kind of build up anything. So really take that into consideration, to ask yourself whether you're an office person, whether you like to work with your hands in terms of, like, for example, a skilled trades, or for example, you are more of a thinker and analytical person, or whether you like to interact with people, whether that's the type of job, in terms of a job work environment that you like to be in. So really start from that, and then from there onward, go and see what's out there that is relevant to what you would like to do. So next areas we're going to talk about is the emerging occupation. So this is more specific, as I alluded to earlier. So I have divided into three type of category in terms of educational requirements. So I'll begin with the type of roles that will require a university degrees. So as I mentioned earlier, a physician or healthcare professionals or specialists, that would include dentistry, optometrists, that type of areas. That's definitely a very hot areas. So if you are currently in school doing your undergrads in science and whatnot, and that's an interest area, obviously it's continued that path. It is a very strong demand areas. And the other areas is teachers. There's a strong lack of teaching professionals out there on an ongoing basis, and I think I'm seeing actually a growing trend of actually more younger people actually going into the continuing educations and going to teaching school to become an educator, to become a teacher. So that's actually definitely a good trend to really follow. As mentioned, a lot of teachers right now is actually at the age where they would be retiring within the next 5 to 8 years. So definitely a very strong demand areas if that interests you, to be in terms of being able to communicate to the students. And I think the certain rewards being a teacher is that you are teaching the next population, you are really influencing the next generation, and really adding values to the community. So if that's a profession that interests you, definitely this is very, very good opportunities right now. And the third part is social worker. As mentioned again, there's a great demand in terms of helping out of anyone from the elderly to someone who requires like from the disabled to anyone in the community that requires special needs. It is a very good profession, and is very self-rewarding again. The next part is post-secondary training required, which would include any specific trade school that would require, for example, certain training institute. So, for examples are any service technician, so from electrician to plumbers to any contractors or builders. That's definitely a great areas to really maybe perhaps consider. So someone who likes that type of work environment, that would be some example of specific occupation they could consider. Again, healthcare technicians. So again, related to the healthcare sector, chefs. In fact, that's actually a very growing area in terms of a high demand of any one that is specifically trained to become a chef and to pursue their career. And I guess if some of you out there do watch regularly the Iron Chef, there's definitely a very rewarding career, and could be quite lucrative in terms of compensation, as well as in terms of fame and whatnot. A lot of chefs the famous one do really do and go out and perhaps open up their own business and restaurant. And hairstylist, that's another areas that some people may not have heard of, but in fact, those that profession it is quite in terms of quite high demand in terms of a professional stylist to really kind of help in terms of the industry that they operate. And also auto repair technician is another areas that it's a high demand areas for those of you that might have a strong interest in automobiles or just likes working with machinery, that type of things. And the last part is the high school equivalent education. So there's a couple of areas: truck drivers, customer service rep, clinic assistants, and retail sales. Those are also areas that are still in high demand despite the current economic downturn. So that's something to consider. So next, I'm going to talk about education and training. So I'm not going to spend too much time. It's quite self-explanatory, but the key message that I wanted to convey is that you should, within your, I guess, means, whether it's financial or time commitment or whatnot, do try to pursue a higher education, either university, college, or technical institutes, or some sort of apprenticeship. So in terms of a lot of, let's say, trade skills, they do really emphasize the apprenticeship. For example, let's say an automotive repair technician, or become a tailor, that sort of areas. That's definitely an avenue to possibly pursue if that's an area that interests you. And again, really do keep on learning. You don't really stop learning after you get your diploma or university degree. You need to really continue to learn to progress within your career path. So that's my key message for all of you in terms of for the education and training aspect for you out there, I guess, growing your career path. So yeah, so thank you for tuning in for tonight's episode 5 for career counseling, and looking forward to seeing you for our next episode. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.